The prince has been chasing Shadi while cleverly avoiding all of the enemies in the game, and he ends up here finding her in the middle of a strangely compelling sight. A catfight between her and a previously unseen woman. Because of his unfathomable hatred for Shadi and overly misogynistic personality, the prince sees no alternative but to face off against the steel-thonged bitch once again.
Leave her alone! You and I have unfinished business!
This fight is really interesting, not because of the fact the mysterious woman hanging on the ledge can somehow grip onto it for 5 minutes, while Shadi occasionally stomps on her hands, but moreover, the nature of Shadi's combat stance. Every couple of seconds, Shadi spanks herself like it's some kind of taunt, and leaves herself vulnerable to a blindside attack. It's just really strange because the game tends to suggest I have a problem with a woman doing that multiple times, and it's even starting to take place in other titles. This was a far better taunt that occurs, but it's only in the last seconds of the fight. It's mind-boggling. Well, this fight has gone on way too long. It's time to put her down. And put her down he does. It was frightening to see the prince mercilessly slaughter the most characterized person in Warrior Within so far. Like her whole existence was solely for the purpose of dragging you to a new character and then killing off an old one who had become redundant. This damsel in distress turns out to be a servant of the Empress, but then something tipped in my minuscule mind. So was Shadi. Why were they fighting then? There's only one logical conclusion. Can you guess it?
How important this is.
Fool. Don't you know? You cannot change your fate.
You cannot change your fate. Was she speaking to me? How could she know my mission?
This femme fatale Kalina seems to have the best plastic surgeon ever. I mean, so much time was spent on her titillating aesthetics and upper body movement animations, it almost makes her JPEG hairstyle non-existent. I wonder if she has severe lower back pain problems from those. Even the Dahaka wants a piece of her, and I don't blame him. It's just too bad she's another psychopath. Our ever-curious, angry little man follows her to the hourglass chamber at the north end of the fortress, and he spares no details to this servant of the Empress, his intentions of killing the Empress. It's rather abnormal that Kalina enjoys revealing how the various sections of the castle operate, and when he pressures Kalina into telling him how to open the throne room to the Empress, which would cause her to divulge secrets and betray her master, this is her response.
To the barrier. Tell me how.
Very well.
At this stage of the game, things get really out of hand. I didn't understand the purpose of all the different rooms in the fortress. What was the point of having such a vast structure? The library, hourglass chamber, and throne room I can understand, but why the need for two large towers? Apparently all they do is activate mechanisms on the throne room door, and one of them forces water to flow in the castle, which would only help to destroy the inhabitants, which are mostly sand creatures. Kalina hands over a sword with no hesitation, which grants access to the towers. So for the next 3 hours, you'll be effectively unlocking a door. Then just as you're finishing your talk with Kalina, the voice cuts out. Okay? Before leaving the chamber, I noticed the especially hideous hourglass. What happened to here? I know it wasn't supposed to glow, but really? Does it have to look this much worse than the first game?
The hourglass drew me, fascinated me.
Alright, better head to the towers now.
There's so much
pleasure in pain.
You know what I hate?
I'll tell you something I hate about activating these towers. It's not actually the fact that you're unlocking a door that shouldn't require 2 massive towers and a series of intricate mechanisms to support it. It's the crushing isolation of the journey. There's no support character in Warrior Within, which is pretty much a unique point of the modern series. I really did enjoy having someone to work with, to help me out with puzzles, to back you up, or just to have a quick chat with. This doesn't happen in this game. You're alone with the prince and his occasional back and forward chats with the enemies, from this point onwards. It really doesn't help anything to progress because of this. There's no emotion, comedy, or even story when you activate these towers. You do a similar thing in the Prince 2008 game where Elika and you repair damage to lands to unlock new areas, but it's really pleasant because she's always with you, and she even rides on your back. And when there's tension in Two Thrones, Farah is always there to relieve the stress. That is until she shoots you in the spine.
Right. Perhaps we should surrender. Or turn away and leave the city. I know a lovely little island just a few weeks' journey from here.